Hello Crypto Empire and welcome back to the channel. We have another Sunday live stream for all of you. My name is Connor. I am your host and this is Crypto Empire, where we dominate the crypto market. I want to start things off by thanking everybody for being here promptly on time for an amazing show that we have planned for you today. Big shout out to the Crypto Empire community. Be sure to smash that like button, and I certainly do appreciate all of you for being here. Big shout out to the Silvadala, saying my brother, another Sunday live. Let's go. We got Ghost in here. We got Dre. We got DJ. We're all ready to rock and roll. Let's get right into it. Let's start things off how we always do, and then we'll get into the charts. But we got to start with our crypto market overview. So let's get into that right now. So taking a look at the overall market, let me just adjust my screen very quickly. Currently, Bitcoin trading at $19,157, Ethereum trading at $1,285. So both of the top two assets in the market are sitting at the levels that they have been sitting at for what seems like months now. Ethereum, that 1280 level is key. Bitcoin, 19K is key support. If we can hold these, that's a good thing. I'll be getting more in-depth into my analysis as we progress further into the live stream. Now, the main thing that you should know right now is that Bitcoin and Ethereum are not what everyone is paying attention to. We have altcoins that are moving double-digit percentage point gains. By the way, big shout out to McNaz96 saying hello everybody, and also big shout out to Rigoberto saying what's good, folks. Good to see you guys here in our live audience today. For everybody just tuning in, welcome to the stream. Be sure to smash that subscribe button and hit that like down below. Now, altcoins are the ones that are moving right now. If we look, Casper Network, top gainer, up 23% on the week, 7.2% on the day, breaking out of a major range, a 5-month range. We're going to hop into the Casper chart right now and go over that, because it's very exciting. As a holder of this coin, this is certainly very, very exciting. So Casper, I first started talking about it on the channel here end of last year in 2021. I get asked about it every single Sunday, and what I have been saying is we have been in this range, you can see at the bottom of my screen, for 157 days. We have now broken out of this trading range, a 5-month range. We first had the falling wedge breakout all the way back here in June. We got the retest with that wick. We did come back down to the support level at 2.5 cents 2 times over here for a double bottom, with the candle bodies closing much higher on the second bottom. And then we broke out of the descending trend line, going back to the start of the consolidation. Clean breakout over here this previous week, retest, and we rocket fuel out of there. This is good, all right? We have Quant, the biggest coin on the market right now in terms of price moving. Now we have Casper kind of starting to catch up here. And the crazy thing about this is the market cap of Casper. It's number 86 with a $453 million market cap, ranked number 86. Now, obviously, in a bull market, the valuations are completely different. If I recall correctly, $453 million wouldn't have even put you in the top 100, top 150 at the peak of the bull market. The valuations were very different. We're now in the bear market, so when we see capital flow into a lower cap asset, it really pulls through and climbs its way up the ranks up much higher, and we are seeing that with Casper today. So our next levels to have on the radar is going to be 5 cents. If we look at the chart here, the bottom of my green zone, notice how it's right at 5 cents. This is our next target for Casper. And this is exciting because if we go back over here, when we had this explosion to 20 cents, right, that was obviously the peak. So 5 cents is a good start. We still have a lot of ground to cover before we get back there, but let's not get carried away. Let's continue our crypto market overview before we get into the charts. I will catch up with our live chat right now. We have Andrea Todia saying, hello Crypto Empire, you have 1 million, what would you do with it right now? If I had 1 million, I would focus on the majors less than altcoins right now. I would accumulate things like Ethereum, some Bitcoin as well, because every asset in crypto is denominated in both Bitcoin and Ethereum. And I expect Bitcoin and Ethereum to move up higher, and then obviously altcoins to have certain periods of time where they greatly outperform Bitcoin and Ethereum. So that would allow me to trade my Bitcoin and ETH for alts and then trade them back. So I wouldn't go crazy with low caps if I had a mill. I would focus on the larger assets. The more capital you have, the less risk you can take. So $1 million is a nice amount. It's not a crazy amount, but it's a decent one. Good question, though. Riley Hall saying, happy Sunday, Crypto Empire, PYR killing it this time. Yes, Vulcan Forge too. Gaming cryptos are starting to take off a little bit. Vulcan Forge, PYR having a good day. It is moving. If we look at PYR very quickly, still in the range, right? We can take a measurement and see that this is still in its 5-month trading range. Has not broken out yet like something such as Casper has. But it is starting to move a little bit, so this is exciting. PYR off the bottom of the range up approximately 30%. Now to the range high from this point, it still has another 27% to go, and from there, if it can break out, it's gonna have a very nice run. We have these wicks over here at 6.65, $6.65. And then all the way up here at around 760. So a lot of room here to run if we can get this breakout for the altcoin market cap. I'm going to be spending a lot of time this live stream looking at altcoins. So be sure to stick with me until the very end. Sam asking, can you look at Jasmy? We will look at Jasmy in due time. Michael saying, welcome back, Connor, for the big move. Welcome back, Connor, for the big move on Quant. Hope you are doing good, sir. Keep riding on that captain seat. We appreciate you for your good analysis. Thank you, Michael. I appreciate that, my friend. Suave saying, I need the market to stay down for another year in order to get my bags right. I need that Black Friday deal so I can trade my way into my positions. I feel you, Suave. I understand where you're coming from. Ghost saying, hey, Connor, do you think the CBDCs will move down if BTC dumps? Or should we consider getting in now? So I think you mean the CBDC coins, not the CBDCs themselves. The banker coins such as Quant, Casper, not really so much Casper, but Quant, XRP, XLM, XDC, HBAR, etc. These coins are not immune to a bear market if Bitcoin really has a terrible crash. Now with that being said, Quant, if we go back to May of last year, as you can see over here, July, August, that's when Quant was below $100. And when Bitcoin crashed from its 50K top, and Ethereum also crashed, that's when we saw Quant take off to a high of $430. So Quant has a mind of its own. This thing is certainly off to the races. And the thing with Quant is that the tokenomics are just too good. What do I mean by that? Seriously limited supply with it. Seriously limited supply. By the way, it cracked the top 30 in market cap. So Quant has a supply total of 4.6 million coins, and in circulation right now is 13.4 million. So it's scarce. It's scarcer than Bitcoin. It's scarcer than things like Monero out there. And it has the adoption. So it's an interesting question. Quant could stay very bullish. It's tough to say. We are at a major resistance level now at 188. Been talking about this. I said I was going to hit this level in my last video earlier in the week, and it did. We'll see if it can crack 200. These coins are not immune to bear markets. They're not immune to major pullbacks, but it's certainly very strong looking right now. Good question. We'll talk more about that as we head into the stream, Ghost. All right, so that's our market cap overview. We are going to get into our Bitcoin technical analysis right now and then get into the altcoin charting that everybody is waiting for. So let's get into that. So Bitcoin, very boring as of late. We did have the CPI on Friday, and Bitcoin went ahead and swept the September lows. We go to the 4-hour price chart. We had the wick low on Thursday at 18K. Now this is significant. We want to have this level at 18K marked on our charts. We also want to have 19,500 up here marked on our charts. These are two very significant price levels. As it stands right now, Bitcoin is not in a great position to push up higher. That can change very quickly though. Let me explain why. Here at 19,500, this is a very important level to reclaim for the bulls if we are going to see any significant moves to the upside. Now, just like we had Casper, for example, go sideways for 5 months, Bitcoin has also been trading in a tight sideways range for a similar amount of time now. We can take a measurement going back to August, and this is around 58 days. This is a 4-hour chart though. If we go all the way back here to the wick low, it's 120 days. That is 4 months of spending time below $25,000. We had a very brief moment when Bitcoin went above 25K, but for the most part, we have been going sideways between 25 and 17. This is going to end soon. We do have the midterm elections coming up in the United States of America in early November. We also have the FOMC meeting announcing the next interest rate hike in early November on November 2nd. Now, there is this speculation right now in the market of a rally before these midterm elections. A lot of speculation that they want to keep the market bullish for sentiment to be higher so that they can get more votes. One particular party, political party, wants that. I stay apolitical on this channel. I stay neutral, so we're not going to get into that debate here. But the midterm rally is on the table. It's on the table, and if Bitcoin can reclaim 19,500, we will see massive expansion to the upside. I would expect the 25K level up here to be tested. And I don't want to start going crazy here with bullish predictions, but if 25K can actually break, we can see Bitcoin go up and test $28,000. If we go to the daily chart, 28K up here, we have a lot of resistance. All right, so this is just an obvious level on the chart. Technicals are telling us that there is resistance up here at $28,000. And if we look, there's a massive gap between 25 and 28 with no significant resistance areas. So that's why I say if Bitcoin can manage to actually flip 25, then 28 is next. Now that's the bull scenario. Obviously, I've been saying here in the channel that I'm bearish because the macro is still very bad. The FOMC meeting on Wednesday, I believe, November 2nd. Yes, it's a Wednesday. This is going to be very big. If the Federal Reserve comes out and announces a full 100 basis point rate hike, the markets are going to sell off. And the bull case is totally off the table. This is right before the midterm elections too, so it's going to be super interesting what happens here. I'm not going to try and pull out a magic conch shell and get you the exact answer if we're going to go up or down. Nobody can give you that exact answer, especially when we're trading in such a tight sideways range where literally it's been happening for 4 months now, 4 months plus, and it can certainly go either way from here. A lot of variables are on the table, a lot of chance things can happen any day, right? A lot of talks in Russia and Ukraine right now about conflict and World War III, etc. So at any moment, things can get super ugly. But if things stay good, if we don't get any crazy headlines, and we can see Bitcoin reclaim $25,000 or $19,500, then there's a pretty good chance we see a massive expansion move to the upside. Would that mark the end of the bear market? No, I would still call it a bear market rally. Now, on the other hand, if we come up here to 19,500, let's go back to a 4-hour price chart. If we come up back here to 19,500 and we get rejected off of the level, and then we lose 19K, we come down and we test 18 and lose that. We lose Thursday's low, it is game over. We are headed to $14,000 to $16,000 Bitcoin in a flash. It's going to happen super quickly. Watch this wick low at 18K on Bitcoin. Really nothing to hold it above if it loses 18, if it loses Thursday's low. So we're in a tight spot. We will test 19,500 most likely tonight, if not tomorrow. This is where we want to have our microscope zoomed in. We want to be paying attention if Bitcoin can reclaim $19,500. That's literally the line in the sand right now. The most important thing that you can take away from today's live stream to prepare for the upcoming week and the upcoming volatility and price action that we're going to be seeing here. 19.5K market on your charts. We flip that. We hold it as support. Things can get super bullish here, and we can see altcoins and Bitcoin continue to run up higher. We lose 19,500. Bad news. I expect lower from there, especially if we start losing these support levels. And if we lose Thursday's low, it's all over. So that's our overall Bitcoin analysis right now. If we look at the Bitcoin futures chart on the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, we had a very interesting thing happen this past Thursday on that super long wick down with that CPI meeting. The interesting thing that happened on Thursday was the volume. Now, this is institutional money. This is not Coinbase or Binance or FTX. This is the Chicago Mercantile Futures Exchange, right? This is where you trade futures, right? ES, NQ, YM, etc., etc. So this is where the big players go to buy Bitcoin, etc. So volume here tells us a lot about what the big institutions are doing. Now, this previous Thursday, we actually had the highest volume bar in 2022. All right, we can look. The only higher volume bar here was on the 21st or May of 2021 when we saw a major capitulation during that summertime correction that we had. This Thursday was the second highest volume day since then. All right, so this tells us that some major institutional activity just happened this previous Thursday. Is it an indication that we start going up from here? No, not necessarily, but it is very interesting. All right, some big buying happened here. We know there's a lot of buying volume because of a major wick. Sellers pushed the price lower, but the buyers stepped in to have the candle close green and close higher than it opened, right? So we know there was a lot of buying here. There was also a lot of selling. There's no denying that. But pay attention to volume. Volume is the number one leading indicator in the market. Let's get a little technical here. Volume by itself is not an indicator. Volume is a statistic. But when applied correctly, when you're able to read the price action and combine it with volume, it is an amazing leading indicator that tells you what is to come next with a pretty high strike rate. Right, so very interesting here in the CME Bitcoin chart. Highest volume day of the year, and it's green. A lot of buyers, a lot of institutional buyers. So that's our overall Bitcoin analysis. Hope that clears things up for you in terms of where we are headed next. Now let's get into some fun stuff. Let's look at the dollar. We're going to look at the main indexes before we get into altcoins and altcoin trade ideas. Now the US dollar still holding the parabola. If we go to the weekly chart, on the weekly we have this parabola drawn in orange. And this parabola continued. Let's go to a log scale so it looks correctly. So the parabola continues to hold here, which is very interesting. All right, when this parabola breaks, obviously that's going to be the big flare shot heard around the world that the next bull market is starting because of the inverse correlation between the dollar and risk on assets. As it stands currently, the dollar holding the parabola. I don't think it's done yet, but if we do have this scenario where Bitcoin breaks above 19.5K, then obviously that would mean the dollar would be weak. So we can see here if it's going to come back down and test this parabola support. Important to keep in mind with parabolas, they are the most violent to the upside at the very end. This is pretty much straight up, but we haven't seen just crazy straight up. When we see that, that's going to be the end of this parabola for the dollar. If the Fed keeps on increasing interest rates, we're going to find out what happens on November 2nd with that next FOMC statement, with that next interest rate hike. If the Fed hikes the rates higher, 100 basis point rate hike, the dollar will keep on moving higher. It's going to be super bad for risk on assets. Keep your eyes on the dollar. Always watch this chart. It tells you a lot. Now the stock market, the S&P 500, we can see here, if we go to a 4-hour chart, we were compressing, and we did break out to the upside on Thursday and Friday, but we got rejected here. Big short squeeze leading to a bull trap. Just crazy volatile price action. Now we closed on Friday down here right at the support level at 35.96, basically 3,600. Super important to hold this level here for stocks. I'm showing you the stock market, the S&P 500, because it's highly correlated to cryptocurrency. And it's also another good leading indicator. Just like I like to use volume as a leading indicator, I also like to look at the legacy markets on what they are doing. Because typically when stocks are green, Bitcoin is green. When stocks are red, Bitcoin is red. All right, so important for stocks to hold this level. And if we go to the weekly here, from the top, this thing is down 25% to the lows 27%. So I would say it's near a bottom. It's close to a bottom, just like I think Bitcoin has a little bit lower to go, 14 to 16K, currently at 19K. It's not that much further. So we're close to a bottom, but I don't think we're exactly there yet. We're kind of just bouncing, oscillating around near the bottom. So it's still a great time if you have a longer time preference in terms of your investments. If you want to get rich tomorrow, you know, obviously you're gonna have to wait for a bull market to see overnight money. But if you're trying to get rich for sure over the long term here, then historically speaking, this is an amazing time. Bitcoin below 20K to get into the market, right? To start averaging into the market if you haven't put any capital in. Now is definitely close to that bottom, all right? So stocks, we have to watch this. We'll see how we go ahead and open up to start the week. Going to be interesting here. We want to hold this demand zone, this demand level. If not, things can get super ugly. Now, one more chart before we get into our altcoins is the total 2. This is the altcoin market cap, all right? So this tells us what altcoins are doing overall in terms of the average of the market. Obviously, there's always going to be outliers out there. There's going to be a select few altcoins that do better than the rest, but the total 2 tells us the kind of the broad spectrum of the market. Now, the total 2 did get rejected from this line. I made a video earlier in the week discussing this potential breakout, but it was a fake out. We got rejected, and the price action tells us this with this candle. All right, long wick up tells us that altcoins cannot actually hold the breakout, so we're back below this trendline resistance. If we can't get above this, it's more pain for altcoins, but this certainly looks like it's priming up for a bullish breakout. The potential is there, but we need to see a close above some key levels, and the most important thing is to see a higher high here on the chart, because obviously a trend is formed when we have an uptrend is formed when we have a series of higher highs and higher lows. As of right now, we have a series of lower highs and lower lows. So what we want to see is that flipped, that reversed, to start seeing some higher highs here. And the high that needs to be taken out is going to be here at $548 billion. All right, we want to see the total 2 chart break out from this trend line and then actually make a higher high. If not, simply means more pain for altcoins. All right, so that's our overall indices outlook. Just to kind of go over the macro before we get into looking at 1 hour and 4 hour charts on a bunch of altcoins. Bitcoin dominance, 41.76%, still flirting near these lows, which is why we're seeing altcoins have a lot of volatility to the upside here, right? Low Bitcoin dominance is bullish for altcoins. So there will come a time when we have a Bitcoin season and altcoins get clobbered by the king. But as of right now, Bitcoin dominance still hanging out near the lows, which is very good for our altcoin bags. All right, so that's our macro analysis. Let's catch up with the live chat and then get into some things. Let's see, is Moon River a good investment, Connor? I like Moonbeam over Moon River. Personally, I would prefer Moonbeam if I can only pick the two. Now, Render RNDR. We had a request from Andre to take a look at this cryptocurrency. So if we look at RNDR on the daily price chart, very similar to a lot of what we're seeing out there. This looks really good, actually. I'll explain why. But this looks a lot like many of the other coins that we watch in the market in terms of its sideways basing on the bottom, potential bottom forming here. 125 days over 4 months of going sideways between 28 cents with a high of 85 cents. But the reason why I say this looks really good is because I do see a deviation here. Depending on where you want to put your lower support for this range, I think right here at 43 cents is a good place to do that. But what we had here this past week on Render was we had a breakdown from this range. This was used as support many times over the last 4 months. Now we see this all the time when we're in a range. We have a deviation where we break down. A lot of people end up panic selling here on the breakdown. And then price reclaims the range and goes on a crazy bullish run. This looks like it could be happening right now. The reason I say that is because of today's daily candle. Look at today's daily candle. Notice how it's currently green and it got back above this previous support, flipped to resistance, right? So now it needs to continue to hold 43 cents as support to reclaim the range. From there, you guys should all see it. I shouldn't even have to draw it, but we have this trend line here that would signal the breakouts, right? All we would do is connect these highs like so with the line. So what we want to see is price hold 43 cents as support, go and test the trend line, break out, hold it again as support, and then just like I was talking about with, what was I talking about with the total 2 with an uptrend, we want to see these highs get taken out, the local highs get taken out to form higher highs and higher lows. This looks juicy though. I like the way RNDR looks in terms of potential here to perform well in price. Now, on the other hand, if we lose 43 cents, that's not good at all, right? That takes all the breakout talk off the table, and we most likely come back down into this demand zone. But again, if we can hold 43 cents on the daily as support, break out of this trend line, make higher highs, this can get super bullish very quickly. RNDR, have it on your watch list. This deviation reclaim is juicy to me. Hope that helps, Andrea. So McNaz96 saying, do you think Nakamoto Games, Poca City, and Superfarm will do well in the next bull run? So these are all very lower cap gaming coins. So Naka is one that I've talked about a little bit here on the channel. Current market cap of Naka is $4.2 million. So below 5 million, super micro cap here. This can move super quick. It doesn't take a lot of money to move this. Now the problem that Naka had was the tokenomics and the fact that they had a pre-sale where if you were an insider, you knew somebody in the industry, you got access to that pre-sale, and you've just been dumping your tokens on the market on the average person out there that wants to, make money, and they buy these low caps. They're just getting dumped on by the pre-sale investors. So that's why previously I never wanted to touch Nakamoto Games, but now in the bear market, it's a little bit better. The fully diluted valuation is $11.6 million. The market cap is 4.2. So the fully diluted is over double the overall market cap. That's not what we want to see. That's really not what we want to see with something where the fully diluted is over double of the actual market cap. Now, on the other hand, Naka, this is a bullish looking chart. This is good. All right. What do we have? Main thing is we have this green dotted resistance level at 7 cents, and we have multiple attempts to try to reclaim this resistance. As of now, every attempt has been denied, but there's been 5 plus major attempts on the daily chart to try to pop above 7. The other thing that makes me think that this is a bullish chart is the fact that we are above this trend line, right? If we look to the left, we can see that I drew this trend line going back to the January 2022 lows. Price can continue to trend lower, and it's used this line as both support and resistance repeatedly. And over here, we did actually get the bump, the breakout, or I should say we got the breakout, and this is the bump, right? This is the retest basically. So for the bump and run pattern to happen, we need to break this green dotted line, and it starts to run. This looks good, right? This looks bullish. Above 7 cents, it looks like it could fly, all right? So watch it, right? We get a daily close above 7. That's your trigger. So have a price alert for 7 cents, 7.4 cents, and if we see a daily close above it, that is your trigger to make a move, basically. Not financial advice, but I like the way that this chart looks. Can it do well in the next bull run? Yeah, I think it could. It's a gaming coin, low cap. When we see the gaming hype, the metaverse hype come back into crypto, that's when it's going to do well. Until then, it could have some pumps, some dumps here and there, but nothing crazy. Polka City, pretty similar in terms of overall thoughts to Naka. Trading at 3 cents. Let's take a look at this thing's market cap. So Naka was 4.2. This thing's 2.2. So even smaller than Nakamoto Games. Down 99% from its all-time high, and it's up 18% from its all-time lows. So this thing is at all-time low levels. So you're not buying the top here, which is good, right? Down 99%. Certainly having a good day today. Going to be interesting when we go ahead and test this trend line. If this thing can break, that's cool. If not, more pain. And it really depends here what happens with Bitcoin. This week, we're going to come to an end of this choppy market this week, right? I think this is it. I think we're going to get the big move that we've been waiting for. We're going to know the direction that we go into next this week. So Bitcoin breaks out. We're going to see these altcoins, especially if it has a $2.2 million market cap, we're going to see it pop and pop super hard if we get the bullish move on Bitcoin. Now, if Bitcoin goes to $14,000 to $16,000 here, which is certainly on the table, right? There's a huge debate right now, huge debate among the community, the crypto community, of where Bitcoin goes next. For the most part, it's senseless, right? A lot of people are just arguing back and forth, yelling at each other. Not a lot of intellect going on with these debates, but it's very possible that we crash here. It's really kind of split 50-50. A lot depends on 19.5K, but really is pretty much split 50-50 on what happens next. And that's going to determine the direction for the altcoins here in the short term. Polka City, not my favorite low cap gaming coin, could do well. And the last one that you asked about, this is Super Farm. That's Elio Trades and Alex Becker's coin. They're going to pump it like crazy on their YouTube channel. Their YouTube channels, they're going to hype it up. So we'll see. Could do well because of that. A lot of people listen to those guys, so we'll see. Kevin James saying, thanks for sharing your thoughts on Pirate Chain. I reposted it on Telegram. No problem, Kevin. Thank you for reposting it. It's so funny. Whenever I talk about privacy coins, it's such a polarizing topic. People either love it or just hate it completely, privacy coins, right? So I appreciate your support, Kevin. I'm glad that we think the same, that we believe that it's important technology to have in the world. I'm not going to try to convince somebody. My job here is not to try to convince you to do something. I simply share with you my thoughts on the market, right? So if you're going to argue with me, I'm not going to try to convince you to believe or think of anything in a certain light. I'm just going to share what I think, and if you think in a similar fashion, great. Glad that we can be on the same page. So Kevin, I appreciate your support. For all the people that think privacy coins are bad, that's cool. You're entitled to your opinion. I'm not going to try to change your mind. You can come to your own conclusions. Oh, my bad, Suave. I messed up with my camera here. My apologies, everybody. I was blocking my analysis the whole entire time. Apologies about that. Let's just fix everything right now so this doesn't happen anymore. That should do. There we go. Thank you, Suave, for letting me know about that, my friend. Appreciate it. We got Francis asking, please check out Kadena. Let's check it out. Yeah, the new studio, guys. The lighting right now is not perfect. Obviously, you see my live stream setup with the charts. Still ironing out the kinks. All right, so everything will be fixed. Luckily, we're in a super slow time in crypto, so it's not the usual kind of activity that we have here on the channel. So it's a good time to be making these kind of mistakes. They will all be fixed, and we'll be running up 100% very soon with the proper lighting. And some new kind of branding stuff as well is in the works. So a lot of exciting things to look forward to here. Now, Kadena KDA, very popular altcoin. As it stands right now, looks like we could have some possible divergence here on the daily. Let's take a look. So if we look at this chart, what do we have? No, we have no divergence really playing out on KDA, but we are in this. We have price sliding lower, 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 lower. Not a very strong looking chart, right? This is, as I put in the live stream description today, a lot of altcoins are super bullish while others look like they're ready to fall off of a cliff. Kadena right now is not looking too hot. Reason being, the previous low that happened in the May capitulation when we had the crypto contagion, right? 3 Arrows Capital going bust, Luna collapsing, causing all these bankruptcies. Kadena crashed to $1.35. That level was retested one time in June, and then more recently we just broke down from that level. And now, as you can see, price trying to reclaim it, but the daily candle right now is getting rejected. All right, so if price continues to use $1.35 as resistance and cannot reclaim it, that's super bad news here. Super bad news for Cadena. Very important that it reclaims 135 and flips it back into support. Overall, that's my thoughts on this right now. It's one of the weaker looking altcoins. It reminds me of Cardano. Cardano just broke down, while we have other coins like Quant just exploding. So this is giving me not good signals here. Technicals don't look good. Trucker Steve in the house. Big shout out to Trucker Steve. Reverend Flashback saying, hi Connor, how are you doing? If I may take the liberty of this remark, you look more serious with a mustache. Congratulations. Well, Reverend Flashback, I'm doing amazing. I look more serious without a mustache. Okay, cool. Yeah, going back to the clean shave. Switch it up. I honestly prefer the clean shave, much better. Let's see, Aisha saying, sir, there is currently any good bullish news for crypto? That's a very broad question, Aisha Ali. Very broad question there. There's always good bullish news for crypto, depending on how you look at things, how you look at the world, your perspective on everything. There's always good news and there's always bad news. It depends what kind of person that you are. Andrea saying, thank you, Connor. Much appreciated. No problem, Andrea. Glad it helped. We just got a $4.99 super chat from McNaz96 saying, I think a lot of people are unaware of privacy coins. I had no idea about them until I discovered the Empire. LOL. Big shout out to McNaz96 for that $4.99 super chat. Learning new things right here at Crypto Empire, where we dominate the market. Thank you for your support, McNaz96. Always here in the live streams. I always see the name, recognize the comments. Thank you for the super chat. Glad that you can learn about privacy coins. Very important technology to learn about and have in your portfolio as we head further into a very restricting type of world. Don Ragnar, big shout out to Don, saying, Connor, what is your approach to finding setups on different charts? What do you look for when hunting for a trade? Great question, Don. I can explain this one. It's going to take a little bit of time, but I don't like to withhold answers. I'll give you everything that you want. Now, what do I look for in a trade? So the main thing is to start on the higher term time frames and set your key levels, all right? Because price simply moves between supply areas and demand areas. So let's take Matic, for example, completely random out of the blue here, Matic. All right, so here on Matic, on the daily price chart, first thing first, I recognize that we're in a range, right? I recognize that the bottom of the range is going to be over here. And I always start by marking the main supply and demand levels on the chart. So for Matic, recognize first of all that we're in a trading range. Looks like for around 2 months going back to July. And now we want to mark the most relevant supply and demand areas. So here we have a big explosive rally, basing, big explosive rally. So this is a rally base, rally demand zone. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and mark that on the chart like this, turn it green for demand. All right, so that's the bottom of our zone. The main point basically for the bulls to hold. And if we look to the left, if we look up, our freshest supply zone is going to be up here. We have a rally-based drop. So we want to go ahead and mark that. All right, so we know that these are the main two levels on the chart between where current price actually is. So we see that price is at the bottom of this kind of range, this range-bound environment here, between $1.05 and the lows at 68 cents. So because we're at the bottom of the range, two things can happen here. We can either bounce or we can break down, right? We can bounce from the zone or we can break down from the zone. So that basically takes a lot of the guesswork out of things when we can recognize where we are in the higher term time frames. It takes the what ifs out of things. We basically have two scenarios that can play out. We either push higher towards that supply zone at $1.05, or we lose the demand level at 68 cents and we go test new lows, some lower demand levels. And as I just said, all that the price does on any market, on any chart, is look for liquidity. It looks for where the buyers are and it looks for where the sellers are. That's my method of finding the most relevant supply and demand zones works so well. It simply tells you where the buyers are and it tells you where the sellers are. Trend lines also help in that regard. But let's kind of keep it simple here. All right, so we identified the curve basically, and right now we see we're at the bottom half of the curve down here, closer to demand. So just being objective, we would look for longs. All right, so what we want to do is we want to drop it now to a lower term time frame, and we want to look for local demand levels. Okay, this is basically going to tell us areas where we can go ahead and enter into our long position. So we have the big crash down that happened on the Thursday CPI meeting. We recovered. We should be able to recognize relatively quickly that we're forming a bit of a symmetrical pennant. Now, because we pumped into this pattern, probability is greater that we pump out of it. That also lines up with the fact that we're at the bottom half of the curve, closer to demand, meaning that there's less sellers over here and more buyers. Okay, so this is all good stuff here. And we do have this demand zone. We have a bit of a rally basing and a rally out. So a rally base rally, we'll mark that in green over here. I'm just kind of going over the process right now, Don. Hopefully you're picking up with everything. I'm sure you are. You seem to pick up on things relatively quickly compared to a lot of others out there, which is good. So basically we have our setup now. We either lose this trend line and come into this zone again. Looks like it's going to be right at a 50% retracement, 38.2, depending on where you take your fib measurement, because these long wicks down aren't that reliable. So if I can take it somewhere like over here, we have our 50% right at 77 cents. I like that. I like that a lot. And this is on a 1 hour. Just for reference, take a picture of this in your mind. We're going to look at a different chart very quickly and then come right back to Matic. All right, a little bit of a TA lesson for everybody here. So we'll look at Link super quick. So what we had happen with Link is very applicable right now to what we're seeing on Matic. Link was forming this pennant over here. What happened? Tried to break out, got rejected. I was watching this yesterday, which is why I know to go right to it now. But we actually lost the pennant, came right to the 50%, and then pumped up higher. Okay? Matic, what do we have here? Pretty much the same exact thing. We're losing the line. Where are we going to go? Demand zone 50% fib retracement. Watch for the pump higher from here. So that's my process of looking for a trade, and that's also an analysis on Matic Network. 77.75 cents is your long, and it's low risk, super low risk, because you would put your stop right underneath the demand zone. So you would literally be risking here 0.6%. And even just to the highs, you have a 5% gain. That's a 9-to-1 RR. So that's how I look for trades. I start on the higher, I have a process obviously. I start on the higher term time frames. I mark the key supply and demand zone most relevant to the current price. And then I go from there, all right? There's 1,000 ways to skin the cat. This is what works for me. Been doing it for 5 years now, and I've had a lot of success doing it. So a lot of people will have different methods, but this works for me, so I like it. Hope that helps. Suave saying Luxo and Star Atlas, please. So I have no idea what Luxo is, LYXC. Let's do some very brief research, fundamental analysis very quickly. Market cap $70.3 million. Interesting project here. Massive falling wedge on the daily, which is bullish. This is just a massive falling wedge. Okay, so what you would want to see for this to play out is price break the trend line, retest it, basically another bump and run, and then go up from there. Yeah, this looks pretty good. We already had the trend reversal. We had this inverse head and shoulders. with this diagonally slanted neckline over here. Right, we had our left shoulder, highest volume, head, right shoulder, breakout. If we take the measure and move from the head to the neckline, let's take a look, and it pretty much exactly played out. We're pulling back in a descending wedge. This is a bullish looking price chart, LYXE Luxo. On this falling wedge, again, look for that breakout of the wedge. Draw it on your own chart. I'm not going to necessarily be trading this one, but it's always a good idea to take a look at it. All right, so it looks good. And again, on the wedge breakouts, we need to make higher highs. If it can't make any higher highs, it's going to get right back into the range that it's been in. All right, that's LYXE. And then Star Atlas was the other one. Let's find the ticker symbol for Star Atlas. Atlas. This was another one where it was crazy overhyped, had a big pre-sale, and really the main people that benefited from this were the pre-sale investors. And the chart reflects that, right? It's so obvious when a coin is just held by all the pre-sale investors and it just dumps and dumps and dumps and dumps, right? Look at this. This thing looks horrendous. Now this could be some bullish divergence on the daily, but we'll take a look and see if it's actually there. Right, we have these two consecutive lower low wicks. If we look at our RSI, it's pretty much equal lows. We would want to see higher lows to call it bullish divergence. But the good thing is it didn't lose relative strength. It pretty much stayed even. We can also have this breakout here as well. So yeah, I mean, this thing, it was a very hyped up project. And another falling wedge. So this could be the end of this horrendous bear market that it's been in. Did have a deviation over here, as we can see. It just lost a support level on the daily. It would need to reclaim 0.00435 cents. If not, then lower. But if it can reclaim this, then we would see a break and run. If it can get above, let's put a line here. This is the line that needs to be crossed for a higher high. If it can get above 0.005, then we can start a new uptrend. But as it stands right now, not the best looking chart. Jazzy, what's happening, Jazzy? Jazzy asking, thoughts on Beam Swap? Appreciate your input, my man. So Beam Swap is a good project. It is on the Moonbeam network. That's Glimmer. And this is the best decentralized exchange on the network. There was another one, Stella Swap, but there's been a lot of controversy within the Moonbeam Glimmer community. Basically, Stella Swap, they were doing some very unethical things with capital and grant money for their own benefits. Really lost the trust of everybody in the community, and they turned out to be very unethical. All right, so that's why we're seeing Beam Swap gain a lot of popularity, and we're seeing a lot of new users with it. So yeah, my thoughts on it are, it's the #1 decentralized exchange on Moonbeam. That's it, right? It's way better than Stella Swap. Still a very small community over there on Moonbeam, so it's going to take a lot of adoption and a lot of users to start to grow. But they offer good liquidity provider rewards. My personal stance on putting money in liquidity pools is it's not the time to do that right now. Right, where's the yield coming from? If you don't know where it's coming from, you are the yield. That's not just specifically with Beam Swap. That's across all of DeFi and all of crypto. So I would not recommend putting capital into liquidity pools personally. But if you want to, they have some good rewards over there too. But yeah, that's my thoughts on it. Michael saying, hello Connor, is Dash, Zcoin, Secret Network, XVG, Wow Narrow, Dero still good projects to buy for the next bull run? Besides, are you still bullish on any of this? So yes, I like not necessarily Dash or Z. I think you're referring to Zcash, not Zcoin. I don't like those two. Secret Network, big fan of Secret. And Dero and WowNarrow also like those a lot in terms of privacy coins. Now WowNarrow it's a meme coin. It's a meme privacy coin. Currently down 97% from the all-time high at $2.08. But this is similar to Monero. It uses ring signatures. It's just a meme coin. It was created in the first place to tip memes on the internet, like Monero memes. They created WowNarrow to tip the meme creators, and it just stuck around. You can buy it on TradeOgre. But yeah, this will do well in a privacy bull run. Any bull run, really. It always does well in the bull run. Secret, big fan of, and Dero as well. Riskier play. I currently do not own any Dero, but it's still a good one, right? I would recommend looking into it and learning about the technology there. Let's see what's going on. Don saying good stuff. Ghost saying smash the like button. Sam I am. That's because it wasn't a pennant. It was a channel. You need to use your lines as they change instead of drawing one shape, and that's it. I mean, my TA works pretty well for me, so there's 1,000 ways to skin the cat. If you want to look at it differently, Sam, cool. But yeah, my stuff works fairly well, so glad you have your own way of doing things. We can disagree. That's fine. I don't even know what you're talking about, to be honest with you. Let's see. Rigoberto saying, check the TA training course. It covers more in-depth analysis. Yes, it does. Thank you, Rigoberto. We have Sean saying Gala hitting the bottom. Let's take a look at Gala Games. Don't mind me as I crack open a nice lime sparkling water. So let's take a look at Gala Games here. Another deviation. So notice how we lost some big levels at 4.3 cents. When Gala was first exploding up, we did form a nice rally-based rally demand zone here. And the low of that, where the candle bodies were closing, was right here at 4.3 cents. Most recently, we were bouncing, and we lost it. We went and retested, got denied. Also lines right up with our trend line here. Okay, so could this be the bottom? Let's check our handy RSI. Well, there's certainly not any bullish divergence here. No, this looks pretty weak. It does look weak unless we can have a rally out of nowhere and reclaim 4.3 cents here. That would also be a trend line break on the daily chart, which is significant. This goes all the way to the all-time high. This trend line has a lot of weight. It did just get denied on yesterday's daily candle, a big fat rejection from this line. Big fat rejection, pumped right back down. So as it stands right now, this is bearish. Okay, this does not look good. If we see a miracle and we see Gala get back above 4.3, which would also be the breakout of the daily trend line going to the all-time high, then we can start talking about the bottom. Obviously, the bottom would have already been in then. It would have been right now. But the way it looks right now, it's a highly speculative play to bet that this is the bottom of Gala. Looking at our daily chart. Good question though, Sean. Interesting chart here with where it's at, right? Because when we break base supports or break base resistance, my personal way of making these base support and base resistance levels on the chart is with these higher term time frame trend lines. They have a lot of weight and a lot of significance. So when they break, it's a big thing. But it has not broken yet. Okay, so we'll watch this trend line on Gala, and when that breaks, it's a great price right now. Right, Gala is one of my favorite gaming coins on the market. Hard not to be bullish on it. But our technicals right now are still pointing not bullish. Trucker Steve is saying, Trucker asking, if I'm on the go and not in front of the computer but phone only, is there value in subscribing to content like the Discord and Bitget doing shorts and longs? Do the man? Certainly there is. So I really primarily place my orders with my cellular device, right? I don't really open up the computer too much. I do my analysis on the computer, but I find the phone much quicker to execute trades. So certainly if you only have a phone, you can trade from it and you can get value from what I provide inside of my Discord. Most certainly, right? You only need a phone to trade, and you can see everything in the Discord on your phone as well, as long as it's a good smartphone, of course. But yeah, I would say you can certainly use a mobile phone and get value from what I do. Sam Wien asking for Jasmy again. Apologies, Sam, I forgot about Jasmy. Let's take a look at it. Actually, I mean, whatever. Yeah, whatever. So, Jasmy, not my favorite coin. I know a lot of people love it, but yeah, I was never really into it. If we look at this thing, it does not look good at all. I think somebody asked me about this last Sunday. Maybe it was the Sunday before that. And I talked about how we broke out below this range, and it's really looking pretty ugly here. Notice how price was just sliding, and then it lost this trend line. And on today's daily candle, we retested, but sellers there are not letting any moves go higher. Okay, so Jasmy looking bad. Some altcoins look great. Like if we look at Casper, it looks amazing. We look at Jasmy, we look at Gala, they're not looking too hot. So a very interesting place here in the market. A lot of mixed signals with our altcoins. The only ones that are really doing well are the ones that have the narrative going for it right now, mainly that central bank digital currency narrative, the ISO 20022 narrative. But the ones that have no narrative and that have, let's look at Jasmy's tokenomics, it's TVL. So if we look at this, circulating supply is 4.7 billion and the total supply is 50 billion. Okay, so that's I'm not exactly sure how Jasmy's tokenomics work, but that right there is a problem. It's down 99.9% from its all-time high. I've seen some YouTube channels only talk about Jasmy, and they get like thousands of views, so I'm not sure what's going on in the Jasmy community and why people love it so much, but it's not really that enticing to me. Maybe I'll eat my words one day and it explodes, but I highly doubt it. I highly doubt that happens. This thing looks ugly. Broke down from the range, lost this support trend line, flipped it to resistance. Doesn't look too good. But it's down 99.9% from its all-time high, so you're not going to be buying any tops if you want to buy Jasmy right now. Smash that like button, as GT Nuts is saying. Kevin James saying, what do you think about CCX? I have never heard of CCX before, Kevin James. Let's take a look at what it is. Conceal. Seems something privacy related. Private by default, decentralized blockchain with deposits paying interest without the involvement of financial institutions. So my first question is, where is the interest coming from? If they're going to be paying depositors interest, where is that coming from? It has to come from somewhere. You can't just, not everything can be a central bank and just print money out of thin air. So that's interesting. Hackers cannot trace funds. It's a privacy network. I get that. Okay, so it's a privacy coin, and you earn interest on deposits. Yeah, I mean, my first question is where's the interest coming from? Right, we should have learned our lesson with Luna, and recognized the fact that interest needs to come from somewhere, or else it's going to collapse. The dollar is going to collapse within the next 5 to 10 years because they've just been simply printing money nonstop, and that's what happens when we don't know where the interest, the yield is coming from. Luna collapsed. What's going to happen with Conceal, I have no idea. This is the first time I'm hearing about it, but I would like to know where the heck that interest is coming from. I'll look into that, Kevin. Thank you for letting me know about it. Suave asking, High Street and Pocket Network, your thoughts on these projects if you get a chance? I've heard of High Street before, but I really don't know what it is. Shopify on an MMORPG metaverse. Let's take a look at the chart, not discuss any fundamentals with this thing. So if we look at this chart, what does it look like? It looks like it was a pre-sale with a lot of selling over the course of the year of 2022. Now we do have an uptrending market, price making higher lows. Depending on how we draw this trend line, if we want to connect the bodies or the wicks, it is pinching. Grab this one particular candle here and use it as our demand level. So this chart looks decent. It certainly does look decent. I like this double bottom. We want to see that play out by a break of this line and higher highs. But yeah, this thing looks better than a lot of other ones because a lot of our other coins that we're looking at, they lost these lows from over here in June, July, May, etc. A lot of coins lost it. High did not, okay? And that tells me that there is something going on here. This looks pretty good. So my thoughts are, it looks better than most. This has pump potential. If we get a bullish outbreak on Bitcoin, breakout on Bitcoin, watch out for high. I'm not sure if it's market cap. And the other one was Pocket Network, which again, I'm really not sure what it is. POKT, let's take a look at it. Another double bottom, which I do like. We have a nice long basing period down here, which is also something that I like to see. This looks like it's been going sideways for 15 days in this double bottom. All right, this looks pretty good if you ask me. Now, if we have these candle bodies closing right at our 88.6, okay, they're closing under and using it as resistance here. So first things first is to reclaim our 88.6 at 7.7 cents. And yeah, that would pretty much start to confirm our double bottom. Already broke this trend line. Already broke above this. And not exactly, actually. My eyes told me it did, but it didn't exactly break it. So we want to look for the break of this and reclaim of 7.78 cents on POKT. And then from there, I mean, if we want to talk targets and stuff like that, we should all be able to recognize that. But I'll go over. We just want to recognize the main levels. We have one at 9.7 cents. So we'll drop a line there. We also have one at our 50% retracement at 13.5 cents. Okay, so these would be our target, so to speak. If you were getting long down here expecting a breakout, this is where you would be looking to be a seller and actually realize your profits. 38% gain and 94%. That's POKT double bottom, looks decent. Andrea asking, do you think this time is different? I think big money have sold last year and they're not buying now. War, inflation, energy crisis could be something else this time, Connor. Yeah, I agree with you, Andrea. My stance, still overall bearish. I think we could possibly see a midterm relief rally here with these elections coming up, but I would say with a high degree of certainty that Bitcoin, even if we do hold above 17.5 here, I would say that we do make lower lows at $14,000 to $16,000. I'll make it very loud and clear. I don't think we bottomed out yet. Okay, could we push up a little bit higher here before another big crash down? Yes, certainly. But the factors that you brought up here, Andrea, war, inflation, energy crisis, it's all a big pot of ugliness on the macro, and there's no reason that that we need to see markets recover immediately like previous cycles. So this time can certainly be different. Bitcoin has never existed in a economic environment that we have right now. It was born in the 2008 financial crisis. Then it just had a period of over a decade of money printing. And if the Fed keeps on raising rates, sorry moon boys, sorry all you bulls, but it's not going to be able to really get going at all. And I would expect lower. So that's my thoughts on the market. Shout out to Glasshopper77 saying, happy Sunday, Empire. Good to see you here, Glasshopper77. We have 50 viewers and only 37 likes. Go ahead right now and smash that like button. And if you're brand new to the channel, hit that subscribe button and turn on all the notifications so that you don't miss any future videos. Aisha Ali saying, thoughts on Mina, privacy coin. I'll give you the technical analysis on Mina. Another one where we are losing the lows. All right, notice a lot of these charts are holding and double bottoming while a lot of them are losing them. Mina losing them. And our daily chart not looking too hot. Not looking too hot at all here on Mina. Yeah, we're making lower lows here, right? This is an obvious downtrend. Obvious downtrend here. Nice run up in August. Unless this is just a deviation and we get back above 57 cents, it's pretty ugly looking. Obviously, things can change super quick. In a few hours, this thing can be back above 5.7 cents to that point. Or sorry, 57 cents, currently at 54. It's only 6% away, so it's not a drastic difference here. But yeah, this thing, it lost the lows, it's making new lows. A lot of sellers, obviously buyers stepped in. It did drop on low volume, which tells you that it's not a real significant move happening here. Just look at the volume compared to these other big days, it's minuscule. So that tells us that this breakdown isn't that significant in terms of selling, which does give some hope if we can reclaim this previous low, flip it back into support. Also, the fact of its velocity moving down so steep is another good sign. Shout out to Thesis himself, giving a $2 super chat saying, really enjoying the analysis. Thank you, Thesis himself. I appreciate the $2 super chat. Thank you for the support, and I'm glad that you're enjoying the live stream. Good to see you here in the live chat. Thank you again for that super chat. Anyway, as I was saying, the velocity of this move down is good to me. If we had a slow grind move down, right, that would say that it's actually, when we have a big velocity move down like this, it's basic geometry, right? It's easier to break out of a super steep downwards move or a parabola to the upside or downside. All right, so when we have a steep move break, that's a very good sign. These are easier to break, right? Gradual trend lines are harder to break, so to speak, than a super steep trend line. So we had a very strong move down with velocity, and the trend line break is not far away at all. So this looks like it can reclaim the range, but if it doesn't, it's still in a downtrend, lower lows, lower highs. It will continue low. Trucker Steve saying, Trucker says, hope you all have an awesome week. Respect all of you. Hope all is well no matter what part of the world you're in. We're all brothers and sisters. Big shout out to Trucker Steve. Have an amazing week. Thank you for your words of positivity and encouragement here in the live chat. Always good to see you, Trucker Steve. Have a great day. Ed Sam Jr. asking for Everdome and Luna Classic. Let's take a look at Everdome. Everdome, another one. Where it has just a lot of locked up coins being slowly released into circulation. Now, if we look at Dome on our daily chart, looks pretty encouraging where we started to break out, right? We broke this. What do we have here? Again, this is an example of a super steep downtrend. I mean, this lasted for quite a bit. We're on a daily chart. This lasted for what looks like 2 months of down. Okay, it broke out of that downtrend, So we started to form an uptrend where we made higher highs and higher lows, right? We had this one initial high over here. And then on the trend line break, we actually made a higher high at 0.003, pulled back, higher low, right? The previous low is down here. Here. This is a higher low. And then we went and we made a double top lower high, which is not good. Presumably right to our 88.6 for the reversal. Wrong tool here. Let's get our Fibonacci out. And let's also blow it up for our audience so that we can see everything very clearly. So if we look at Everdome, we have a classic double top right at the 88.6. One high, second high lower. Break the trend line. Everdome not looking good. Plain and simple. We already tested this one support level. Buyer stepped in pretty aggressively. I want to drop this down to a 4-hour and see if I can find my distinct pattern that I look for. And yeah, we can certainly use this candle here. I like this personally. So our demand zone starts at 0.002, 0.0019. So this is where I would look for the breakdown to kind of end. And then we go from there. But this trend line break, not good for Everdome. Bearish. Now, Loon C, we want to be paying attention to the coins that are not showing these signs of weakness, all right? So Dome is weak. For example, Casper is strong. We want to be paying attention to the ones that are strong. Now, Luna Classic. This is important that we hold this current support level. It's trying to break right now. Right? Trying to break right now to the downside. So this is very important. It's happening in real time now. This is the 4-hour chart, not the daily. But what do we have, guys? You know, we have that initial pump. I mean, this looks like bearish divergence. Let's just confirm that. See if it played out. Confirm suspicions. No, not necessarily, actually. What I would want to see is the RSI make lower highs, but it made a higher high here in the second pump, so interesting chart. But yeah, what do we have here? We have a strong move. Now we consolidate, and now we're pinching. Okay, so typically when we have a move higher into consolidation, we expect the trend to continue higher. Now, if we take a measured move, right, like this thing, the measured move tells us that we're going to go to this red supply area on the chart. Important for this low to hold here. If this low holds and we see price get to the trend line and we see a breakout, that's your trigger. Before then, I would hold your horses and not try to touch this meme coin. But certainly a stronger looking chart than a lot of stuff on the market right now. Andre saying, Connor, what price is ETH is attractive to you to buy? So I've talked about this a lot, and all my charts are marked up already. So ETH, let's go to a daily chart. Attractive prices for me to buy ETH, a little above 1K, 1050, 1080. Obviously the lows sub 900, 900 to 880. And then the really super attractive zone for me is from 670 to possibly $480 on Ethereum. Those are my levels. McNaz96 saying, Connor, will you be buying any NFTs during the down market? Also, will you be making any videos on that? McNaz, good question. Good question. So I recently actually did buy a new NFT on HBAR. I bought a HBAR NFT. I bought a dead pixel. I bought this Mr. T one. I spent 7,000 HBAR on it, which was like $500. This is one of the biggest collections on HBAR, and I like being early to an ecosystem. HBAR is super early to NFTs right now. So this is my most recent NFT purchase at a okay price point, right? $500, 7,000 HBAR. Not that high, not that low. But yeah, certainly buying NFTs. It's going to be a while before another NFT bull run. We'll see select projects do very well, but it's not going to be a full-scale hysteria like we saw in 2021, I would say for a few years, at least until the next block halving for Bitcoin. And I will be making NFT videos again, and I'll be covering all the stuff I used to cover, right? Levana, Cosmos NFTs, but also be getting into some new ecosystems like HBAR. Jeff Powell saying, joining late, glad I caught you though. Excited to see everything dropping now for some juicy buys. Yes, sir. Good to see you, Jeff. Andrea asking to check out Mute. So it's only on Uniswap, which I don't really love, but it looks to be doing okay. If we go to a 3-day chart for a higher term time frame analysis, holding that 88.6 well, pushing up from there. Now we're approaching a big level at the 78.6. Should be pretty obvious why it's a big level. A lot of current resistance there. And price testing it right now. Testing the lowest point of that resistance as we speak on Mute. All right, so we want to look for a reclaim and leave this little bottom behind us. Right, if we can get back above this level, flip it to support. This was a nice little bottom here that formed, and it would be too late for that to buy at that low bottom prices. This thing is certainly showing some strength compared to a lot of other things in the market. Showing ideal strength, especially on our higher term time frames, right? Let's even jump it out to a weekly. Weekly's looking super bullish. Weekly, what did we have? We just had an ascending triangle breakout, right? We had the supply zone. This is a weekly breakout, has a lot of significance. All right, so we had the ascending price action into our horizontal resistance. We pinched it, we broke out. Looks really good on the weekly. Super important to close above this level this week, right? If we get the weekly close in 5.5 hours above this yellow line, this is very good. We could see our next move to this area here, and that would be a gain of 57%. All right, so there's some money to be made with this one. Looks good. A saying, thanks for covering Pirate Chain lately, Connor. No problem, A. Glad that you enjoyed the video. By the way, what about technical analysis for Dero? We can look at Dero. Haven't looked at this chart in a bit. Let's see. Well, it looks like we got the channel breakout. Let's go to a daily with this. So I assume my analysis for the buy zone was on this pullback, like so. That's my assumption, why I probably wrote that. But price did end up coming back down to this support level down here, this horizontal level. Lines up very well at $3.50 on Dero. Had another strong bounce from this level. These pumps on these low caps, they happen very sporadically, right? We see it all the time. Big pump, sell off. What we don't want to see here on Dero is a double top. Again, we want to see a higher high. Currently, the golden pocket is holding as resistance. All right, but for a real double top, I would expect the 78.6 or the 88.6 to be your tops. So we are most certainly, it's fair play to see another pump higher. We also have a flag. We got a bull flag. Bull flag alert. Measure move. Go ahead and clone this flagpole. Measure move would take us just above the 80 or 78.6 at $4.82 here. And that is a gain of 10%, 12%. All right, so Dero bull flagging. This is what I'm seeing, but needs to clear these highs. Right, we don't want to see a double top. If it can't make it past the 61.8, it's a nice rejection back down to support. But yeah, this is a bull flag on Dero. Jeff saying, what do you think about VeChain? Never really heard you talk about it before. So I made a few videos on VeChain when I first started my channel. Right, I used to own a pretty decent amount of it. I sold a lot of it in the previous run. My thoughts on VeChain are it's always a solid pick in a bull market. It always does well, and I don't think that's going to change the next one. Now, right now, 2.3 cents is our main area of control, point of control. Price is really struggling to get above 2.3 cents. I've been watching VeChain for this breakout for months now, and it hasn't happened just yet. Most recent CPI crash swept the lows down here. Beautiful sweep of the lows right back up 2-hour resistance on VeChain. So I'm ready for this breakout. I have been tracking this for months, like I said, waiting for this 2.3 cents to break out, and I'm looking to long it and trade it and make money with this trade. But yeah, I like VeChain overall. I think it always does well in a bull run. I don't see that changing. A lot of big developments with VeChain. Their blockchain partnerships with China, Chinese companies, etc. They're doing a lot. All right, so you like to see that. Good project. SRC, you seem like Big Bear. Okay, that's cool. Just looking at the obvious SRC, looking at the unbiased, objective reality of the world that we're in. Suave asking, will your trading course teach me to chart Forex? I really want to trade using leverage on crypto. Does it teach this to someone that has zero knowledge in trading? Yes, Suave. My trading course on my website will teach you technical analysis that can be applied to any market, not just crypto. I actually learned my system not originally in crypto. I simply carried it over and adopted it to cryptocurrency. I learned how to trade in the futures markets, right? And yeah, I simply moved my strategies over to crypto, adapted them somewhat, but it's really the same base of supply and demand. This will teach you how to trade any market successfully, plain and simple. All right. A lot of audience members here took the course already. I have testimonials to back up my claims. I know it works. I know there's very valuable information in the course, and that's why it's marketed as it is, because it's all there. Yes, it will teach you how to trade Forex. All right, we're going to look at a few more and start wrapping this one up. Chat is extremely busy today. I really appreciate everybody and their engagement today. A lot of stuff to catch up on. We're going to look at a few banker coins, and then we're going to start wrapping this one up. First things first, let's look at Algo. Algo at 32. 32, as we can see, I recognize that right away because this is a level of significance for my personal way of looking at the charts. This is the top resistance area of a big range. It's been used as support and resistance many times. So Algo, besides this long wick on Thursday, right, this needs to be taken into account. You know, if this long wick on Thursday wasn't here, the first thing that my eyes tell me is bear flag, right? We have a big move into it, and then we have the upward sloping consolidation, but we had that wick to flush out all these stop losses below. But algo is a banker coin, and right now it's banker coin season. All right, so what we want to see from algo, that's this wick kind of invalidates that bear flag, all right? Takes it out of the discussion. Right now, yeah, this certainly looks pretty good. Let's go to a shorter term time frame, like the 4 hour. Looks like it's revving up for a little bit of a run. I mean, it's in the perfect breakout spot for a long. This is in the perfect spot to look for a long position with a pretty tight stop loss. What you would want to do is you want to put your stop below these wicks. If you want to play it a little bit safer, you could put it below this wick over here to the left. Take that into account. Right here, you're risking 3.2%. If you account the wick to the left, you're risking 4.17%. Not that big of a difference. And, oops, wrong line. I would look for your scalp target here, 3.5, 8.88% gain. To the next one, you got 18%. So yeah, algo, it's in the perfect spot for a breakout to the upside. And you have your stop loss in place in case it goes against you. But this is a good trade. That's algo. We'll also look at XRP. Take a look at these banker coins before we start wrapping up. Now XRP losing. Notice my green zone. Notice the bottom line of the green zone. All right, the bottom and the top of my red and green zones are significant. If you haven't understood that yet, I'll keep on repeating it so you can actually understand that. So XRP just lost a support level. Next support level, 45.85 cents on the chart. I would expect price to make its way down here. And then from there is up in the air. XRP certainly very, very enticing, right? But yet we have to remember that this move is pure speculation based off of the lawsuit case. We don't have any data yet saying anything about the lawsuit, whether it's going to be, you know, XRP will be cleared as a non-security or not. Double top certainly speaks to me. Trendline break here certainly speaks to me, right? This trendline break, this is another base support. This is on a daily too, so we know it's significant. So yeah, this is pretty bearish, objectively. Double top, base support, trendline break, retest, rejection. Not good, not good at all. Looks bearish. So yeah, we're gonna get back down here to 45 cents. And if we recall, 45 cents, top of the previous range. We've held it so far as support. So there's no sense that we're certainly going to break it. But 45 cents is the top of the previous range before we had the breakout. It has held as support so far, so we would expect it to continue to hold. If it does break down, well, then we're right back in the range. Let's look at XRP versus Bitcoin quickly on our 200-week moving average. Okay, so I've talked about this a lot with XRP versus Bitcoin. On the weekly chart, this 200-week moving average, the previous two pumps on XRP over the previous 2 years, going back to 2020 when we saw XRP. I remember the day that this happened, actually, when we saw Stellar XLM also pumped on this exact same day. But rejected right at the 200 weekly moving average. Next one was in May of 2021, rejected right at the 200 week EMA. Where are we? Right back at the 200-week EMA. Now it's a little bit better this time because notice how price only wicked into it previously and then just got rejected. Here we actually have candles opening and closing on the weekly above and below the 200. So a major battle happening with XRP. It's outperformed Bitcoin big time this year, over 100%. And if we can actually flip this 200-week EMA into support, then we're going to head to the magnet and we will complete this phase of the move. Another big battle will take place over here at 3,900, 4,000 Satoshis. But right now it is getting rejected at that 200-week EMA, which lines up with the bearish outlook on the USDT chart. All right, so everything is kind of making sense a little bit here for XRP. If we look at this chart, we do also have a 200-week EMA, and we are currently just below it. Okay, so as of right now, XRP does not look like it's going to go for another explosive run immediately. It's cooling off. It's cooling off. And we will also look at QNT Quant. So Quant Weekly, insane. In a big level currently at 185, 184. And it is facing some resistance. I haven't moved these lines. I've had these lines on my chart for months. Again, this is why I say the top and bottom lines of my gray and red zones are significant. Notice how price stopped to the exact tick at the top of this zone. All right, that's what happens when you are good at identifying price action. Let's get rid of this EMA. So Quant right now, I mean, it's parabolic, right? This thing is straight up, which is concerning. Certainly is a little bit concerning, right? Draw something like this. Like literally straight up on Quant. Watch for this parabola. Right? Remember, parabolas are always the highest, most strongest, and explosive at the end. They literally go straight up. That's what's happening with Quant here on the daily. So let's watch this. Let's watch this. It can certainly continue going straight up. There's no denying that. But if it starts to lose the parabola, that's when you know it's time to get out, and you'll be able to buy back in lower. And your next level to the upside, if it does continue the parabola, is going to be $208. And we will look at another banker coin. We're going to look at HBAR. So HBAR on the daily price chart here. Pumps and dumps, lots of pumps and dumps here on HBAR. Similar to Algo, where it's trying to take off, but every time it gets above a level, it just gets sold right back into where it was. So HBAR, if we look to our left, I mean, it's in the middle of the chop. It's in the middle of the chop here. Holding this upward sloping trend line. It's just chop, really. I mean, I just told you guys, I just bought a dead pixel. Like, I'm pretty big on HBAR, right? It's becoming like one of my largest holdings. So I don't mind the fact that it's staying down here below 6 cents, right? I bought in a pretty decent amount of it through dollar cost averaging down here around the 6 cent level. I'll certainly buy more if it gets, sub 5 in this gray box I have here, right? I'll certainly buy more. But right now, this is just still choppy. It has the potential to break out explosively because it's a banker coin, ISO compliant. And right now, it's just sitting on support. It's not breaking any levels, which is good. It's just choppy, chop and slop. All right, guys, so we just looked at a ton of stuff. Let's see, SRC saying, hey, Dre and Connor, are you guys waiting for 10 to 12K to buy one whole Bitcoin? Personally, I think 14 to 16K is a more reasonable spot. I wouldn't say 12 to 10,000 is a given. But yes, certainly, I will be buying a few at 14 to 16, adding to what I already do hold. Ethereum saying Dre is going to keep waiting for 11 to 12. He'll buy it probably 30 to 40. That's funny. Yeah, we'll see. Look, nobody knows what's going to happen next. Like I've said a few times here, you know, the dollar cost average approach is proven to be better than a lump sum buyer. So if you have a plan, right, I have a plan in place. I've been sticking to it for months now during the entire course of the bear market, you know, with just weekly buys. So if it goes up from here, I'm packed. If it goes lower, cool. That's why I work super hard in my life, so I have capital to invest, to do things with, right? So either way, I'm covered, right? This isn't my first rodeo at this game. Ethereum saying, hey Connor, did you get wrecked after CPI pump market reversal? No, I actually made a ton of money with that. If we go over here to my Discord, I took 2 longs that day, and I cashed out on both of them. Almost 100% profit. I long Bitcoin at 18.4K. And I long Chainlink at 695, and it got to 725. Proof right here. My members and myself all made money that day. So, yeah, no, I did not get wrecked during that CPI. I actually made a pretty significant amount of money. So, it was a good day, good week. But guys, it's time to go ahead and wrap up this live stream. Go ahead and smash that like button if you haven't smashed it already. I hope that you guys enjoyed. All right, Sean, we will look at E and J. I saw your comments. We'll look at E and J for you before we wrap it up. I don't mind. I haven't taken a look at E and J in a while. Let's see. Double bottom on daily and bullish divergence. Well, we do have a double bottom on the daily. Holding our 88.6 with the bodies, which is good. Yeah, this is enticing. E and J is a good coin, and we're in demand, right? We're at the lowest point on the chart, basically relevant to current price, right? This is our low at 38. We're at 42, in demand, and we'll pull out the RSI as well. And yeah, RSI trending higher, price making lower lows. Certainly looks pretty good here. So if we wanted to play this one, the safest approach would be a stop loss below 37 cents. Too big of risk for me at 11%. All right, so I might want to take it up higher to around right here at a 5%. But the high that I would look for, first target would be here at the start of the green box, also lines up with the trend line at 50 cents. And then above that over here at 54.7. And both of these are at least 3 to 1s. Yeah, these are both 3 to 1s, so these are 2 decent looking trade setups. Or 1 decent looking trade setup, 2 targets here that look good, both of them. So yeah, E and J certainly looks stronger than a lot of the coins we looked at. Again, a lot of the coins we looked at broke their lows, and they're sitting making lower lows. E and J has a double bottom, bullish divergence, as Sean is saying. And we can draw another trend line like this to really get our pinch going on here. Like so. And it's a falling wedge. Yeah, this is screaming pump actually. Sean, thank you for bringing that to my attention, my friend. Let's see. Ethereum. I thought you shorted 18.2K, so I asked if you got wrecked. Nope. Went long there, actually. Been trading for a bit. So, If I say something a day before and then I look at the charts and I change my mind, I'll make a decision the drop of a dime. That's how traders do it. So yeah, that's why it's important to be in the Discord group if you want to stay really up to date with everything that I do. You can find all information about the Discord on my website, cryptoempirecode.io. All information is here if you want to consider joining. I'll tell you, I will be having a big sale in November for Black Friday, so if you want to hold out for a better deal, look, I don't really need your money, so I'll tell you there's going to be a big sale next month. If you want to wait for a better price, wait until next month. With that being said, I hope that you guys did enjoy the video. If you did, smash that like button. If you're brand new here, subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss any future videos. Turn on all the notifications. Hope that you guys enjoyed the stream. I'll see all you guys throughout the week. Big week coming up. We will decide which direction that Bitcoin trades in next. 19.5K is our big level on the chart. If we're above 19.5K, that's very bullish. Below, it's a little bit concerning. We could nuke, all right? And speaking about nukes, there could also be a real world nuke. Could be kind of a black swan, even a white swan event. A white swan event is where we already know about something, but we forget about it. For example, what can cause a white swan is something like the Evergrande real estate fund in China. We already know they went bankrupt last year. It tanked the markets, but everybody forgot about that now. What happens if a big headline comes out and they say they default on all their debt? It's going to crash the market. So we could see a black swan, we could see a white swan here. Crazy time in crypto. All I know is that I am watching everything on a daily basis and taking the trades as I see them level by level. That's how I do things. I hope that you guys do enjoy my analysis. Thank you all for being here during this live stream. I'll see you all throughout the week. Have an amazing start to your week. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. I appreciate you all being here. Hit that like button if you haven't hit it already, and I'll see you all in the next video.